My coworker said I was cruel for yelling at a customer's kid. Then I showed her the security footage of him locking another child in the freezer. I work at a discount grocery store. Last Tuesday around 3 p.m. it was pretty busy. School just got out, so we had the usual crowd of moms shopping with their kids running around everywhere. I was restocking the frozen pizza section when I heard this kid yelling from the walk-in freezer where we keep the bulk ice cream. Real panicked screaming, not the usual bratty tantrum stuff. I dropped my box of pizzas and ran over. The heavy door was shut tight with one of those big industrial handles you really have to pull hard to open. Inside was this little girl, maybe 6 years old, crying her eyes out and banging on the door. She was already shivering bad and her lips were turning blue. Got her out immediately and she was terrified. Kept saying some boy pushed her in and locked the door. Her mom came running over freaking out asking what happened. The little girl pointed at this kid who was maybe 10, standing by the ice cream coolers with this smug look on his face like nothing happened. His mom was right there too, one of those customers who always acts like her precious angel can do no wrong. When I walked over and told the kid he couldn't lock other children in the freezer, he just shrugged and said he was playing hide and seek. But the little girl was still crying, saying he told her to go in there and then slammed the door on purpose. The kid's mom immediately got defensive, saying her son would never do something like that, and I was accusing him of attempted murder or whatever. She started yelling about how inappropriate it was for me to discipline someone else's child, and demanded to speak to my manager. That's when my coworker Amy came over. She's this sweet older lady who's worked retail for like 20 years and never raises her voice at anyone. She pulled me aside and said I was being too harsh, that maybe the door just got stuck and I shouldn't have yelled at a customer's kid like that. The kid's mom was getting louder, saying she was going to corporate about how I traumatized her son by accusing him of something so serious. Other customers were staring, and I could feel my face getting hot with embarrassment. But something about the way that kid was acting bothered me. He wasn't scared or upset like a normal kid would be if they accidentally got someone trapped. He was just standing there with his hands in his pockets, almost smiling while this little girl was still shaking from being locked in a freezer. I told Amy I'd show her the security footage during my break. We have cameras everywhere in the store, including one that points right at the freezer section. My manager Tom lets employees check the footage if there's an incident we need to document. 2 hours later, Amy and I went to the back office. Tom pulled up the video from around 3 p.m. and we watched the whole thing play out. Clear as day, you could see the 10-year-old kid talking to the little girl pointing at the freezer door. She shook her head no at first, but he kept talking to her, probably telling her it was a game or something. Then he literally guided her into the walk-in freezer, waited for her to go all the way inside, and grabbed the handle with both hands to pull it shut. He even put his foot against the door frame for extra leverage to make sure it closed tight. After that, he just walked away and started looking at ice cream like nothing happened. The worst part was you could see him check over his shoulder a couple times to make sure no adults were watching. This wasn't some accident or innocent game gone wrong. This kid deliberately trapped a 6-year-old in a freezer and left her there to freeze. Amy went completely pale watching the footage. She kept rewinding it, saying she couldn't believe a 10-year-old would do something so calculated and cruel. Tom was shaking his head, saying in 30 years of retail, he'd never seen anything like it. We saved the video, and Tom said he was going to call both families and the police. Turns out locking someone in a freezer, even a kid doing it, counts as false imprisonment and endangerment. The little girl could have gotten hypothermia or worse if I hadn't heard her screaming. When the police showed up the next day to get copies of the footage, they said they'd dealt with this family before. Apparently the kid had a history of hurting other children at school, and his mom always defended him, claiming everyone was picking on her innocent baby. The kid's mom never came back to the store after that.